a conflicting meeting that was supposed to be on around this time. It has been postponed. So,
okay, well, glad you could make it and be with us today.
yeah, me too. But
Rose heard me telling everyone we were going to get rowdy on the call today if she wasn't here, so she showed up.
So I showed up. All right. I'm turning the meeting over to co-chair Darren Lance.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Indigenous Commission on Thursday, February 6th, 2025 at 11:04 a.m.
Okay.
Rose,
And I will help with, and I'll help with the roll call.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, co-chair. Commissioner Cuddy-Eye?
I'm here.
Thank you. Commissioner Curley? I believe she said she's on the road and will try to get in. Co-chair Lance?
Here.
Co-chair Zavala?
Here.
Commissioner Francis? Commissioner Hosky? Commissioner Loma Umvaya?
Here.
I'll just call you Commissioner Moana, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
Commissioner Marks? Commissioner Marshall? Let's see here. Hold on a second. Actually, I am, Commissioner Hosky is here. Okay, I'll turn it back over to you, co-chair.
Next is going to be the land acknowledgement. Could I ask somebody to read that for us? We got any volunteers in our commission?
I can, Commissioner Lance,
Okay.
unless
Thank
anybody
you.
else was itching to do it. Let me pull it up. My screens have been all funky. All right, here we go. The Flagstaff City Council humbly acknowledges the ancestral homelands of this area's Indigenous nations and original stewards. These lands, still inhabited by Native descendants, border mountains sacred to Indigenous peoples. We honor them, their legacies, their traditions, and their continued contributions. We celebrate their past, present, and future generations who will forever know this place as home.
Thank you, Commissioner Zavala. Next is going to be public comment. At this time, any member of the public may address the commission or any subject within their jurisdiction that is not scheduled before the commission on that day. Due to open meeting laws, the commission cannot discuss or act on items presented during this portion of the agenda. To address the commission on any item that is on the agenda, please wait for the chair to call for public comment at the time the item is heard. Do we have anybody from public comment or public comment?
Just me.
Who was that?
Hi, I'm Noni Grader. I'm a student journalist at NAU, and I just wanted to ask a couple questions maybe towards the end about some of the things on the agenda.
Great. Yeah, towards the end of this meeting here during the discussion items, or maybe a little further, maybe the next agenda item would be number 7. Maybe we can ask for public to comment on any of the items that we're going to be discussing today. Okay.
Co-chair?
Yes.
If the questions pertain to anything on the agenda, then anyone can ask questions during that time. You just need to, once the presentation is completed, and then you can ask for discussion after that, and people can do discussions.
That makes sense. Okay. We'll do. Thank you. Next is going to be the approval of minutes, approval of January 8th, 2025 minutes. Looks like
This is
commission.
Commissioner Francis. I'll second that.
All right, great. So we got Commissioner Zavala, Commissioner Francis approving the minutes. Okay. Next item is going to be general business.
And co-chair, I need a vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. We need a vote from everybody to approve. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Aye.
Thank you. Looks unanimous. Thank you.
Any opposed? Okay, go ahead.
All right. Sorry. Excuse me, folks. This is like one of the first time, I've only did this co-chair thing a couple times. So, I'm still getting new to the way things are done. Next item on the agenda is number 5, which is general business. Inclusive wayfinding, Flagstaff Downtown Business Alliance. We got Executive Director Hunter Hebert of the Flagstaff Downtown Business Alliance. FDBA will provide a presentation regarding part of the Flagstaff Vision and Action planning process that took place during the COVID-19 pandemic. A compilation of feedback received from community and stakeholders will be reviewed. FDBA may need further input and will notify the commission on next steps. All right, Mr. Hebert.
All right. So how are you guys doing today? Thanks for having me. My name is Hunter Hebert. I've recently moved to Flagstaff. I'm trying to get this screen share thing going again. Recently moved to Flagstaff from New Orleans, Louisiana, where we worked on some cool projects there for downtown New Orleans. And so excited to begin here in Flagstaff and share some of the cool things that we've been working on as downtown. And some of this work that you're going to see is based on, this is our downtown vision plan. This is a sheet of our downtown vision plan. This was a document that precedes me. It was put together by our past director and with a lot of community influence here. And I've screen capped this page here, community's top priorities. And you'll see the first item I highlighted here in orange. Develop a public space improvement and activation strategy that engages locals and visitors and celebrates the creativity and culture of Flagstaff, including Native and Indigenous traditions. And other things highlighted there is the connections. Make it a walkable downtown. Let's improve pedestrian crossings. Create a master plan that identifies locations and messaging for enhancing the Flagstaff brand. Work with ADOT to do some improvements here on medians and so on and so forth. And so I'm going to share what I think that means and what I've seen in other communities, including my hometown. So this is another page from the vision plan that we put together. And you can just see here, this is what we mean by, wayfinding gateways, connectivity. And this could look like a number of different things, and for these things to be successful, they need to speak to local culture and local traditions. And so I found some of these online. These are just kind of cool examples of other kind of placemaking and wayfinding signage. And they're all unique. And I'd like to think they all reflect the community's values and what they hold important, right? I received this example from Anchorage, Alaska. They were working on branding some signage for their trailheads here. And what they did was they worked closely with a local tribe, and they found the symbol here on the right is a fire bag that they use for ceremonial purposes. Whenever they have fires, there's fire starting tools and various ceremonial items in there. And so with that as kind of their design direction, that kind of influenced the local cultural side of things. And so when they started developing, a master plan for what their trailhead signages look like, they kind of wove that the imagery of that fire bag into the trailhead signage, which I thought was a kind of a cool way to tie back in some local culture. And you'll just see it from a few different signs here, a few different views of those signs. Pretty cool project. This is my hometown, Lafayette, Louisiana. There's a huge French culture there. There was a time not so long ago in the 80s where the French language and a lot of the Cajun culture was pretty endangered from being lost altogether. So there was a large push to preserve the French culture. And so there's a lot of, this is the downtown. The signs are primarily in French and secondarily in English. It does two things, right? It gives you a glimpse into what the community holds important, which would be preserving their culture and their language. And also it makes downtown look a little different. So this is another part of that project. The group that designed these went ahead and redesigned all the signs for the town to make them feel more unique and more culturally, inclusive there. And so they're all in French. And they look different. It doesn't look like your standard park signage or look like your standard DOT signage. And this is what it looks like today. And so there's a whole suite of signage. It goes from things like on the left here, you'll see this is a vinyl cling that just kind of has arrows to kind of help you get acquainted with, important landmarks like the Musée de Lafayette is a Lafayette Museum, or the library, or so on and so forth, the courthouses and things like that. And so different intersections or different streets are treated a little differently according to their importance to the street grid. So you have like an A, B, and a C street. And so on your C streets, which aren't really primary streets, you get something like the vinyl cling. On your B street, you would get something more like that sign that's bolted to a existing stop sign. And then at your primary locations, you get something more like this kiosk where you see Rue Moss there. That is a vinyl wrapped aluminum cabinet with a map that shows, different landmarks. And it is primarily in French also, different landmarks, how to get there. And there's just some really great drawings of each landmark there. And so that's another view of what they look like on the sidewalk today. And this is what we mean by wayfinding, right? It's something that helps someone who maybe doesn't go downtown often, or maybe doesn't go to Flagstaff often, find things once they park their car, right? Once you park the car and the navigation systems turn off, everyone becomes a pedestrian at some point, right? And so engaging those pedestrians and helping them find their locations is important. And this is a step in that direction. And so here in Flagstaff, we have a pretty good trail system that has a lot of signage. They've already been redesigned, but they're being implemented. It's kind of an ongoing process. You'll see some of these existing. I believe Thorpe Park has all their signage changed, and you'll see a few of these like on the middle row here. These kind of freestanding signs. You'll see a couple of those around town, and so. This is kind of just an exploded view of what, or expanded view of what the signage looks like. And I think they're great looking signs, and it's a great local precedent that's been set already. And, as we explore ways to enhance our wayfinding here, this is a good first step. And you'll see on the right here, these are the materials that you'll find in our downtown specifically, right? We have brick pavers, green paint, wood, some natural stone, and then corten steel, kind of that rusted steel look. And so the architects already incorporated that in designs. And so, we have a good place to start. But how do we take what's been designed here and make it more culturally significant, right? So what enhancements can we make here to what's already been done, or what messages do we hold important, or what do we want to put on the street, and what's important to us going forward, or what do we want to showcase to visitors? And that's just something that I wanted to share with you guys. I'm open to take questions or anything, but I'm just kind of showing this idea around right now, trying to gain support. I do feel like we have quite a bit of support over in City Hall, as this has been identified over and over as a project that is worthwhile and that the city's interested in pursuing as far as wayfinding goes. But while we're deciding what that looks like, there's an opportunity to add things that make this more culturally significant, and that could mean a lot more to people that are native here, or have deep roots in Flagstaff, and something to be proud of. So just to get the wheels turning for you a little bit, just show you what some other communities are doing, and as we go forward, think about how we can plug in and what can we do to make this feel more Flagstaff than just just a sign on the road. How do we really bring it home and make it feel like it belongs here? So anyway, thanks for your time. So you have a question here.
Hi, Hunter. Welcome to Flagstaff. We're so excited you're here, and I'm so stoked they filled up that ED role at DBA. I used to be able to work with Terry when she was in that role, so I'd love to hear more about what you're doing there. My curiosity is about the timeline for this project. When you're looking to launch, will you be putting out like an RFP for any marketing companies or any local organizations here to help support in the design?
Yeah, so there is no timeline right now because we can't fund this. So our timeline is going to be according to when the city deems it a project that they want to move forward on. But we're here to influence that decision and make sure that our voice is heard and that this feels at home in our downtown and in your downtown. So what does this look like? Who designs it? All up in the air right now. I mean, the preliminary design is done, right? Like I like the direction that the architects already done there for the city of Flagstaff. So it's more about messaging. So like, what do we include within that style, or what additions can we make to that existing design, right? Hello, next question.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hebert. My name is Cheryl Lee Francis. I very much appreciate the presentation and the document that was given to us. Thank you so much for that. When I went through it, excellent examples from Alaska and Louisiana. I really could feel the messaging of what was going on there. But when it comes to Flagstaff, there's something missing on my perspective. In northern Arizona, very particular to this region, the tribes that represent this area, our San Francisco Peak is a huge symbol of who we are, whether Navajo, Hopi, Wallapai, Paiute, there's about 13, 14 different tribes that are represented in this region. And unfortunately, I did not see that reflective in those signages that Flagstaff had placed. So is there a way to add that as to include that in those signs? Or just like in Louisiana, you had it in French, something in our native languages that represent our people here. Things, subtle, just like those other communities. Is that a possibility? And actually, it is a possibility. I just want to know what are your thoughts? I know if this is a design, the collaboration of finding, who's going to design that, who's going to create that, or who are the experts in putting in those names. So what are your thoughts?
That's kind of why I like speaking with you guys, right? I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in this, but the San Francisco Peaks are featured in some of those signs, so maybe just make it a little more apparent. But as far as like language and messaging, that's something I would lean on the experts for, right? I'm just trying to make sure that we get that voice heard.
Well, the mountain is symbolized there, but then the meaning behind it. So all those trail signs, you go to Buffalo Park, there's nothing. that talks about the Osli, that talks about the significance, the spirituality that we have with this mountain. Not just my tribe, the Navajo Nation, but also Hopi and, like I said, the other tribes. So I suppose it would take another discussion to figure out how we're going to bring about those professionals, subject matter experts from the tribes, that type of thing to get this accurate. And I guess from my perspective, I'm wondering, how far would you like us to go? We could say the whole thing.
Right.
There needs to be consensus.
So it seems like you're more concerned with like the storytelling or like the narrative behind why the mountains are included, because obviously there's a picture of them, but like, you know, why it's important. I think that's something that could be added pretty easily, right? There could be a plaque attached to that, you know, or something. I don't know what it looks like yet, but you know, that's why we gain input on these things to figure out like what's important to folks.
And each tribe's name of the mountain in their language, just like Denaina, Dinah, and Alaskan tribe, they have their language included. So if everyone has a thought on that, please share your thoughts.
Oh, hi, Shirley. Sorry, I had my hand up for another point, but I did want some clarity to your question. So are you asking us how we feel about having each of the 13 tribes represented in these designs?
Just your general, what are your thoughts?
Oh,
go ahead,
okay.
Darren. Hi, Deanna.
Hello. Hey, I had a little question. Mr. Hebert, is that how you say your name?
It's close enough. Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, sorry, I was saying it in a different way. It didn't sound right.
No problem.
Sorry. Hey, so let's say we wanted to add or like make a suggestion. You know, whoever you had designed that already, is there like a PDF or some kind of format? Let's say, you know, we had some suggestions of what to put on there. Could we, like, if you were to send us a file, and we were to take it to our digital artist to like put just the concept together and be able to email it back, is that possible? You know, because like you know, we could all add bits and pieces to it, but you know, to actual put it to life and like send it back to you guys, you know, to say, hey, this looks pretty good, you know, or you know, let's change this, you know. But if there was a file, because the last time the commission had something that I knew somebody, I got a friend, a family member, I've known him for like 40 years. He's my brother. So he actually had some input. Well, he had some help in the design of the Native American Heritage Day flag last year or the year before, I think it was. So yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if there's a file that can be shared that we could modify and maybe send back to you.
Yeah, so to be totally clear, I didn't hire the designer for the signs or anything. I just found this existing document and I've seen the signs going in. So I don't have any of those files. I found this on the architect's website. I could share that link with you. But I've only been here for about 8 or 9 months, so I don't have any vendors working that I've been working with directly or anything right now. I'm just in the conceptual phase of advancing what's already been done. So like, how do we take what's been done and make small modifications to make it feel more culturally significant, instead of just dropping a Flagstaff sign downtown? Like, how do we make that more meaningful? So you know, I'm not sure what direction the city wants to take. Maybe they want to redesign the whole thing. I doubt it, since they've just hired someone to do it. But I think there are some, you know, additions. Like if we want to add the San Francisco Peaks in the native languages, that's probably something that can be done. Or you know, if there's other things that, you know, that don't consider redesigning the entire sign, that's probably very likely. But your input would be great, as when we're having those conversations, to figure out how to advance this conversation and just how to make this more holistic in the approach.
Great, thank you.
I think I have, is it Mariah or Maria? How do you?
It's Mariah, but Diana is first. It goes
Oh,
like
okay.
one, yeah.
Oh, wow. I
But
only see two. Okay.
no worries, it's multiple pages. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Diana.
Thanks. This is kind of adding to what Cheryl Lee was um, just wanting to think about for us. There is on if you haven't been to Wupaki National Monument, when you turn into that Sunset Crater area, there's a little parking area when the first one that you or the second one, and what she was saying about the indigenous names of the tribes, they don't have all of them from around the state, but they have the ones right close to around here, and these are new ones that I have seen because I live close to here. It's like 6 miles or so from where I live, so I go there quite often. And they have like what each of the tribe, the native name is for each for San Francisco Peaks. So that I really like that. What its meaning is, what they call it. It's not a huge plaque or anything like that, but it's enough that you can read about it, and it adds about what the Sunset Crater was about, how long ago it was, and what happened when the native communities that were living there, all that. It's really a nice one that they did. And I don't know who did that. I'm thinking the county did. But maybe it could be the National Forest. Maybe they collaborated together. But that's kind of something that maybe you might want to look at and get some ideas about it. So that's just my suggestion. Thanks.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, I have been over to Baki and Sunset Crater. I think I actually did take pictures of the sign, so I'll look back through those. That's a great idea. Thank you. All right, now I got Mariah is first now. Sorry about
Thanks,
that.
Hunter. And Shirley, thanks for starting the conversation and really stimulating it and introducing yourself, because I realized I did not introduce myself. Hi, I'm Raya Zavala. I'm the co-chair for the Indigenous Commission this year, and I hold a few other roles in the community. So I have a couple of questions, and one of them is if you'll be approaching other commissions on this project that you're doing, like the Beautification Commission, um, the like any of the advisory councils here in Coconino County, like the Hispanic Advisory Council, African American Diaspora Council, those kinds of things. And my curiosity is, when building out these designs, like the city of Flagstaff, we as a commission and others had the opportunity to collaborate for that logo, but they chose or we picked two people from each of our commissions to participate. And that may be most efficient with your time. A lot of us are really excited to participate and support, but as you build this out, if you can try to get everybody from the community, it can be really, I don't want to call it indigenous centric. In our city, we are on like the lands of tribal lands and such, but our town is so diverse and we really want to make sure that all parts are represented. So my guiding hand is to make sure you're visiting with all of our different commissions. And if there's a few of us from here, maybe we can start a committee when you get more into the designs, of people who have that background or want to be more vocal in how to perceive and go along with the designs. Like I think Shirley would be a great asset for that. She has so many great ideas, and all of us do, but it can, from a marketing perspective and just timeline, a lot of cooks in the kitchen can get really, really intense really fast.
Yeah, understood. So you guys are actually the third commission I'm presenting to. I presented to the Diversity Commission, who I believe recommended me to you, and I've also spoken with the BPAC Commission. So I've done those three, but yeah, any introductions or anything for me to get in front of other commissions, I'm all for it. I do feel like this is going to end up being a project that the city, takes the lead on. I'm just kind of making sure it doesn't fall to the back burner, right? Like I want this done. I want it done right, and I want it to reflect the local culture. And so I do, if the city leads it, I'm sure there will be a commission that designs and all this. Right now, I'm just kind of gathering support and getting like the general feel of it, so that when I keep approaching the city, I'm like, hey, I've spoken with these groups and these are their concerns, and just making sure that we're making a good case. That way we can make this project a reality.
Great. And I do want to echo all of the concerns that our commissioners have shared. There is definitely a lack of representation of our tribes currently. And I do think just overall the diversity in our city. So I definitely wanted to praise them for jumping in and speaking to that.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you too. Like I said, I just moved here, and I was having a hard time when I initially got here. I was like, so what is the local culture? Like everything kind of looks the same, and then there's pockets of it here and there, but I spend most of my time downtown, and I feel like there was not a very strong representation of the local culture here. And so that's something that I put on my priorities. Is like, how do we get more Indigenous art here? Or how do we get more murals? Or is it public art? Is it? I don't know what it looks like yet. Do we do a cultural series in the square where we on Sundays do some kind of get together or focus on, Kachina carvers, or I don't know what it could be, local drummers. I don't know what it could be, but all that stuff is a real possibility, and it's something that I've been wanting to do. I'm not tied into the right circles yet, so I appreciate you guys having me here today. Yeah, Shirley. Oh, there's another. Sorry, you're second. I'm bad at this. There's multiple screens. So it's Kimberly.
Kimberly, we can't hear you.
She's in the chat, maybe.
Okay, I believe Commissioner Hosky's going to put her stuff in the chat, and then so we'll go on to Commissioner Francis. Go ahead, Shirley.
Okay. Thank you again for everybody's input. I really value your perspectives. It's so important that we actually, let's read Kimberly's question first. What are the funding options and what is the timeline for that?
So as I said, this is going to be an issue that I'm trying to raise with the city. So hopefully the city funds it. This would be a city project, like the trail signs are all funded by Parks and Rec or whoever's, kind of realm this falls into. It could be Public Works or Pros or whoever it may be. But, I believe they're doing budget talks right now for 26. So, most likely 2027, or, if there's some kind of line item already in the budget for 26 that someone's speaking to for this, maybe a possibility, but it wouldn't be a short timeline. And, like I said, the options for funding is, unless you guys have a bunch of money in the commission somewhere, we can't fund this. So, basically what I'm trying to do is be the advocate to get this done at City Hall, right? Just trying to pull the right strings and make sure that we can get this installed.
Appreciate that, Hunter. So you being a visitor within the last, 8 to 10 months here in Northern Arizona, some of the history of this community, as you saw, is absent of our Native American cultures represented in this area. Delicate subject to talk about and to be very diplomatic when things are said, because historically, Indigenous peoples, tribes have been in this area for time immemorial. This is our area. The mountain is huge and significant. It's not just a place of skiing and recreation and entertainment. there is significant ceremonial recognition. It is a being, and to regard it with just with an image, and and that's it. It is insulting. When we come down to it, there is much regard of how medicine people go there to gather plants, things for ceremonies, songs or origin stories, are involved with this. The seasons, so important. So I want to impress that upon you, and not to regard the other cultures in this community. Yes, the Hispanic culture is here. The African American cultures are here because of the railroad, because of forestry, but not time immemorial. So that's why this place is so important to our peoples, known as a border town. The relationships in the past have been very difficult to maneuver and overcome the challenges that we faced. Even this commission last November shared a story. If you haven't seen it on Hulu, there's a story there that you might want to show. If you've heard of it, it's in the episode Out There, the Shape-Shifting Defense.
What's it called?
Out There, Crimes of the Paranormal. It's episode 6, the Shape-Shifting Defense. And it was the murder of a Navajo woman here in Flagstaff behind the Flagstaff Medical Center. This was in 1987 that these things happened, where the defense used our culture against us, saying that it was a skinwalker who killed this woman, not the person who admitted, who was a professor at NAU. And it was so strange. This is in 1887. It was 1987. So I think the more you start to educate and learn this information here will help also help you advocate more why we need to have these discussions and be more inclusive of our tribes in this area. That's kind of what I want to share. As far as art, in the chat, I'm going to place a link to a resource called the Buddy Whitethorn Foundation, and they are a group of artists that represent many tribes of this northern Arizona area. That is helpful because the storytellers are storytellers, even though they're the artists. It's one and the same, to give you an idea of how we see the world. So that's just another helpful information for you. Thank you.
Thank you. And, I appreciate the work you guys are doing here on the commission. I come from a place that was, culturally endangered too. And, there was a big push because the folks that raised me really instilled it in us that if you're not living your culture, you're killing your culture. So, I appreciate that you guys are out here, spreading the message and making sure people are educated and trying to plug people into the right areas. It's very important. You don't want to lose that because once it's gone, you can't bring it back, right? So we got to make sure it doesn't die with us, right? So thank you, guys.
I'm also going to put in the chat the Hulu episode just so you have it.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great. It doesn't look like we have anybody else unless there's maybe somebody from the public that wants to comment. I know there was somebody earlier. I wasn't sure what topic she wanted to comment on. I thought it was this one, but maybe it's our next.
Sorry, it wasn't this one. I'm so sorry. I just wanted to clarify.
Great. Thank you. All right. Is there anybody else in the commission who's got any questions?
Co-chair, this is Rose. Thanks for I just want to say thank you to Hunter for being here and for sharing this really important message with us and with the commissioners. I also wanted just to say that you coming from a very culture rich area and coming into Flagstaff really helps in many ways, this commission and the city to realize that that is really important. And what you just said really lends to that. I really appreciate that. And I just want to say thank you for wanting to speak and present to the commissioners today. Yeah. Back to you,
Thank you
Co-Chair.
all.
Yes, thank you for
Thank you all. I
presenting
think
today.
I'm going to leave now. Okay. I
Real
appreciate
quickly, Hunter,
Yeah.
I have a quick question. So after this conversation, what can we look forward to as far as an outcome? Is there something you're going to report or say, or you're going to come back to us again? And I don't know.
Well, if you guys, if someone could, maybe Rose, if you could put me in contact with some of the other commissions. I'm trying to build a pretty robust support of why this is important. So that's going to be the work I'm doing for now. And then I think I have the ear of a few folks on council. So, I don't see this happening next year or anything, but I would come back to you guys. I don't know what kind of timeline I could come back and give you an update, but I hope there's an update, and I hope I can give you a timeline soon. But yeah, I'm willing to. I guess I'll just be in touch with Rose, and when I hear more, I can plug her in, and maybe I can come back, or maybe just she can give an update on my behalf.
Okay, that'll be fine. And even other community groups would be good too. All right. Thank you, Hunter. And
Right, thank you guys. Have a good day.
Okay. Back to you, Co-Chair.
All right. Thank you, Hunter, for that presentation. We really appreciate it. Next is going to be one of the discussion items. We got an update on Greater Observatory Mesa Trail Plan. Remember, we heard about this last year, mid-year, maybe it was early on, but I remember getting a presentation. Right now, we got an open space coordinator, Sylvia Struss, will provide an overview and update on the plan for the Greater Observatory Mesa Trail. Visit the following link to find out more about public input, public meetings, and the current draft plan. All right, Sylvia.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. My name is Sylvia Struess, and I work with the City of Flagstaff Open Space Program. My clan is English, and I'm born for German. I'm originally from Massachusetts, Wampanoag land. Worked for DNA Legal Services for 20 years, lived in Chinle for 7 of those years, and then moved to Flagstaff after that, but kept working with DNA. And after retiring as a DNA attorney, I pivoted and went, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And this job with open space came available through AmeriCorps. So I started out as AmeriCorps for a couple of years, and now I'm staff. So we manage Flagstaff open space properties, which is Picture Canyon and McMillan Mesa Natural Area, which is the other side of Buffalo Park, and Observatory Mesa Natural Area too. So thank you for having me here today. And I'm going to share my screen. Y'all can see that. I'm going to make it full screen so it's bigger.
Sylvia, we're not seeing it.
You're not seeing it. Okay. Hold on. But now.
We got it now. Thank you.
Good. Okay, thanks. Get everybody out of the way here. Okay. So we've been working on for the last several years. We've been working on a trail plan for the Observatory Mesa natural area. Come on. I've been having computer issues today. Oh, there we go. Okay. So here you can see the light green area is Observatory Mesa Natural Area. Downtown Flagstaff is to the right. The BNSF Railway is down on the bottom. And Fort Valley area, Cheshire neighborhoods are to the north. And so I'm presenting this to you in case you get questions about this, you'll know what people are asking about. You get questions from the public, but also if you have any questions or concerns about it too, love to hear that. So Observatory Mesa was obviously tribal land historically, but more recently was Arizona State Trust land, and was purchased in 2004 using bond funds voted by Flagstaff citizens. So there's a conservation easement on the land, which requires us to preserve the land for conservation purposes while also providing passive recreation up in that area. So I just want to be clear, y'all know where I'm talking about. So like the trails that go up Mars Hill from Thorpe Park and up from Railroad Springs or Service Roads 515. Okay. And as part of purchasing it, we had to allow small game hunting on the property. As you saw, it was definitely checkerboard ownership. See if I can go back. So the other green is Forest Service land, and then Lowell Observatory is the blue area on the bottom right there. So some of the trails continue from our property onto Forest Service land, and some Forest Service roads continue onto the natural area as well. The Flagstaff Trails Initiative several years ago did a public survey of what the public wanted to see with regard to trails in the Flagstaff area in general. And they got 1,700 comments back, and 120 of them were about Observatory Mesa. And it got distilled down to these 5 recommendations here. Construct a new stacked loop system so that people could like ride or hike in and do loops. Connect Fort Valley from the north to Observatory Mesa. Adopt some of the unauthorized trails on Lowell Observatory property, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Evaluate unauthorized trails to decide which ones should be closed and naturalized and which ones should be adopted. And there's a commuter route from Fort Valley on the Foots Trail too, so connect that as well. So our objectives were to design a trail plan based on community feedback and input, guiding policy and sustainable trail design, reduce the impacts of motorized vehicles in this area, address unsustainable and unauthorized trails to improve the conditions, provide a variety of experiences, and improve safety and wayfinding mostly. That's really easy to get lost up there. If you've been hiking up there, there's lots and lots of small trails. So come on. Okay, so there's not a lot in the way of archaeology up at Observatory Mesa. There's a fair number of springs and cattle tanks or wildlife tanks there. There are a couple of sensitive areas for wildlife, such as goshawk and American kestrel nesting. And there are certainly wildlife corridors, mostly in the northwest section and the southwest sections. We did consult with Arizona Game and Fish about these areas, and they advised that any trails be at least 500 feet from those areas. So that has been incorporated into the plan. We've also, because of the checkerboard property area, we've been partnering with the U.S. Forest Service and with Lowell Observatory regarding these plans, and also with the Flagstaff Fire Department. And they needed a fire break in a particular area, that kind of thing, and kind of coordinate with their thinning efforts up there. So I guess current conditions, they're still that way. We haven't changed anything yet, but 20 to 30,000 users per year with hiking, biking, including mountain biking, horseback riding, cross-country skiing and snowshoeing, not so much lately. I was out there yesterday saying I should be snowshoeing right now, not hiking on a 60-degree day, right? Right now, there's only 5.8 miles of formal trail. There's fairly minimal access, right? There's only a couple of trailheads that we have. And there's a lot of unmanaged recreation, including 15 miles of, right now, unauthorized trails. So this is what it looks like right now. That's why it's so easy to get lost up there because of all these roads and trails. So these yellow lines, can you see my mouse moving there? Okay, so these yellow lines are Foots Trail. So that's the Mars Hill Trail going up and coming up from the Railroad Springs area as well. And then there is a brown line that is the Flagstaff Loop Trail, which is, if you haven't been on it, it's about a 40-mile trail that goes all the way around Flagstaff. I think it just continues down there on the Foots. And then the green lines, there are no green lines. Yeah, green lines up here are unauthorized trails. And then the red lines are roads, like old Forest Service roads. So we want to focus on making sure that alignments are sustainable. You'll see in that picture of the guy talking, it's like important to make sure that trails are kind of on the side of this, along the side of the slope, as opposed to going straight downhill, and building them so that we don't have to do very much to sustain them. We have to figure out which unauthorized trails are out there that are sustainable, that would be fairly easy to adopt. Which ones do we have to restore to their natural area? What is passive recreation? Did we want one directional trails? For example, downhill mountain biking trails? Or do we want all multi-use trails? And then there's a lot of adaptive mountain biking trails that have been proposed as well. Lots of discussion about whether e-bikes would be allowed up there, and then what other access points did we want to have. So we started this process. Well, we started the public meeting and plan development stuff in 2021, worked with the land managers and partners. And then in 2022, had the first public meeting and online surveys. And then we came and presented to the different commissions. That's what you referred to, Vice Chair, in 2023. And then a second public engagement meeting in 2023, and then a third draft and a third public meeting in 2024. Come on. But, so these are the general comments that we received from the public. They wanted more bike-friendly alignments, questions about how will enforcement and funding work. So for example, if there are some trails that have e-bikes and others that don't, like how do you enforce that? That wanted more adaptive mountain biking friendly trails, some people wanted a reduced density of the trails, use the existing Forest Service roads as trails, allow or don't allow e-bikes depending on your perspective. A lot of people wanted to leave it quiet as it is, don't want it to become a mountain biking destination, and then concerns about the springs and the wildlife. So that was a lot of the comments from the public, the subjects of the comments from the public. So this is what actually got, I'm going to try to make this bigger for y'all. No, yeah, okay, there we go, a little bigger. So this is the plan that was passed by the Open Space Commission meeting just a couple of weeks ago. Try to move this. And so the red lines are the proposed Forest Service roads, right? The existing roads that would stay. And then the dotted purple lines are the trails that would be adopted as authorized trails. This map is not showing the adaptive trails, but a lot of the adaptive trails are down in the southern portion. This is yellow. Our spot is yellow here. So the center south portion there. There's a couple of adaptive mountain biking trails in there. And then you'll see that Lowell Observatory's property got taken, blanked out there because they're going through a kind of like a regional planning process for themselves to figure out what they're doing on their property. And they didn't want to commit to any particular trail alignments yet. But we certainly do expect that there will be some of the adaptive mountain bike trails leaving from Lowell Observatory from their parking lot area up there. And then the commuter route is, you'll see way on the left side, and then it goes down and through the center in the kind of shorter purple lines. So that's what the map looks like right now. And this will be presented to the Flagstaff City Council. There's also a couple of new trail heads that are proposed to. So at the bottom where you see like a blue triangle with 2.2 down here, that'll be on Lower Coconino Road. And then way out here, which is where? Out by Cheshire, right? And then up here, up towards the Fort Valley area, and then connecting from Fort Valley up here. Some of these are mountain biking trails, not specific trails, but like will be optimized for mountain biking. So there's this one here, 5.26 from Mars Hill. And then there's this 3.36, which is existing already. It's also known as the Hot Pockets Trail for mountain bikers. And then these two trails here. So they'll be open to everybody to use, but they will be optimized for mountain biking. Okay, keep clicking on here. So the next steps again, our will be presented to City Council to adopt the final plan. And then there's much work to be done after that, right? Getting the permitting from Arizona State Parks, Arizona Game and Fish, U.S. Forest Service, getting a finalized archaeological survey done up there as well. And can you guys see that last block, or Teams thing is blocking my screen, but I don't know if it's blocking your screen. There it is. And then of course, finding funding for it and actually building the trails. And there's we have three different priorities for building the trails. Starting at the priority one is starting at kind of down towards Railroad Springs area and up by Mars Hill, and then kind of building our way out. So let me stop sharing now. So I'm here presenting to you here my contact information. And then Robert Wallace is also here on the meeting, and Rebecca Sayers, and I think also Amy is here on the meeting as well. The assistant director of Parks, Recreation, and Open Space. Any questions? I just wanted to add that we've sent this plan to, I think all 13 different tribes, the Fort McDowell, Yavapai Nation, Havasupai, Hopi, Wallapai, Navajo Nation, San Carlos Apache, Tonto Apache, White Mountain Apache, Yavapai Apache, and Yavapai Prescott Indian tribe for their review and input. And I only heard back from Yavapai Apache and White Mountain Apache tribes that they reviewed the plan and they didn't have any concerns about it.
I got a question, Sylvia.
Yes.
So any of the trails that are being proposed to be added are the current ones named like the existing ones? Are there names for them? The trails, is it, or any of the new ones that are going to be added, or is there a way to add a name?
We do not have any names for them yet, but yes, that will be a process of adding the names.
Okay.
Yes. And we'll certainly come back to you all to do you have any ideas about how to name what to name these trails? And yeah.
That would have been it, just to add some cultural significance to the names of the trails, or being able to name them, that'd be good.
Yeah, and the signage too. I was here for your discussion earlier, and I have been working on a sign up at Picture Canyon too, and several of you have participated in that process too, to figure out what do we want on that sign. So when we get to designing signs as well, we'll probably come back to you.
Awesome. Do we have anybody else from the commission that has a comment? All right.
Thank you, Sylvia, for presenting. It's really extensive and appreciated the PowerPoint you guys provided ahead of, but I just wanted to give thanks. Go ahead, Shirley. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, Sylvia, I really appreciate that you introduced yourself, even your American culture, like and your original European sides. I really think that's excellent. And you coming from working at DNA and living in Chinle, that had left good impression on you to continue doing so. I really liked that. Questions real quick though. Do you know, since you're working with AmeriCorps, Sharon Tewksbury Bloom?
Why do I know that
She
name?
works,
I
she
do
works
know
with
that
AmeriCorps
name.
too. Yeah, she does a lot with AmeriCorps.
And she's a local facilitator in town.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Just you said AmeriCorps, that's why I figured you might know her. She's here in Flagstaff. I think just to reiterate Darren's point about the inclusion of like what we can provide as far as our information into those areas, wayfinding signs, talking about the plants in this area is always important. And you've thought about that. So it's always about money too. So hopefully these projects will come to fruition. Have you also worked with a group called Ancestral Lands Conservation Corps?
No. Oh, no, I do know who they are. They're out of New Mexico. Yes.
Yeah.
They're like
They've
part
actually
of AmeriCorps and the Conservation Corps. Yes. Yes.
Yes. And they've actually did some reseeding when the museum fire happened. And they were out there and they were, doing the removal and replanting. And I thought that was nice. So I don't know if that's a partnership too that you might want to just to have that inclusion of these groups being a part of the shaping of these trails. I think that would be a good representation of that cooperation.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've done a lot of trail work the last couple summers out at Picture Canyon, and the Conservation Corps has done that work with us. And 90% of those are tribal members. Yeah. And they do amazing work. So
cool. Yeah, that was the only thing I was going to put, but I'll put the name, of course, in the chat just so everyone knows. But looking forward to a follow-up, looking forward to anything that you'll have us next review. That would be great. But I was looking at the trails and the maps, and for some reason, Native people, we tend to just stay like closest to the border. So I'm always familiar with Fat Man Loop area. I don't know anything about the observatory area. It's just, it feels very, I've never felt I could go there or had a welcoming,
Mm,
not welcoming, but it's just unknown. So that was my interest of, wow, there's other things. And I have been around the Thorpe area and I've done a little bit of hiking there, but
mhm,
I guess that kind of relationship, that'd be great. But it got me thinking about all the other things we could possibly do with our native road bike groups that we have. Maybe again, share these places with them. It's unfamiliar, that's the other thing. We just don't know.
huh, cool. Good to know. It is
Something
in
to
the
think.
backyard of Kinlani Dorm. So
Yeah.
we've
And
taken kids up there from there. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. And I have Moana. And Moana, I think you went to school with my daughter, Lizzie, Elizabeth Ferrara.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah, I recognize you now. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, a long time ago.
hmm
Um, I just wanted to, so I know that you said that there was, talking about cultural sites and archaeology, there's not much of that, in the area of these, trails. And I just wanted to ask, that, or make sure that there were mitigation plans in case you came you came across something that wasn't anticipated or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have to go through the State Historic Preservation Office or SHPO before we do anything here. And we're not allowed to do any groundbreaking
Okay.
within an archaeological site. Yeah.
Okay.
And if we have to, like we did some work out at Picture Canyon where we rerouted a trail that's right in an archaeological site, then we have to have an archaeologist on site while the
Yeah.
work is being done, and they have to like record everything that they find and then like put it in a nearby place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Alrighty. And you haven't seen any kind of disturbances to any sites that are out there, with kind of the traffic that's been going on?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank
yeah.
you.
hmm And Commissioner Kude, Diana.
It's Kati Navajo, but Kariai. Thank you for your presentation. I probably was one of those online survey people too,
hmm
voting not wanting e-bikes, just putting it out
hmm
there. I do a lot of ultra running, so I run with a group Natra.
hmm
I'm assuming
Yep.
you have some, because they Neil Weintraub had a lot to do with the Pitcher Canyon area. So
Yes.
with our running group, we go on a lot of these trails, and I go running by myself on a lot of these trails, and most of it I try to find ones that's connected to the AZT, so I do
hmm
a lot of that. And I don't go up to observatory area very much because it's just too far from where I live. But when I do run with the group, and with during the spring summer days,
hmm
months, I run with the Flagstaff Trail Divas, and they do a lot of running mainly closer to town. So I'm learning a lot about these trails over the years, and so and it really irritates me and annoys me that there are many trails that are not authorized to be trails,
hmm
but people do them because they want a shortcut. And I'm always thinking, if you want a shortcut, stay home, you know,
Right.
and you shouldn't be out here then, But they do that even on, hiking onto Humphreys Peak, on San Francisco peaks too,
Mhm.
and it really irritates me. I go there to try to meditate and all this, but I come back just more upset than so, and even on Alvin, So I really hope that some of these signage, some of these groups, I'm sure you had a lot of input from the mountain biker people,
Mhm.
because it sounds like they did. that they have, I wish they would be more um, telling, people that come to visit to mountain bike, because runners and mountain bikers, we can do both. And I mean, I bike too, but not as often. I wouldn't call myself a mountain biker, but where I live, I bike, and there are trails that I ride on, but I'm more of a runner. And we always have this kind of I don't know what, a friendly back and forth about, you guys, need to stop and let us go through, because we have the right of way, the hikers, the runners, the horses,
Right.
but they feel like they don't, and that's what really upsets us a lot of times. And they're just zooming through, and they'll take a shortcut, or they'll take if they get off the trail doing things like that, so, or they ride a day after or 2 days after it rains,
After
and
the
that
rain,
just
yeah.
and they're not supposed to be doing that, because they mess it up, although the ruts form, and then they start going around it. That's where you end up destroying a lot of the plants, and the species that it just really annoys me. So I hope that if and when you do present to them again, that they need to talk to the biker community coming in from out of town. And it's, they're the ones that seem to not be aware of these type of protocols. So, but I seen some of the work that has been going on, especially at Pitcher Canyon. I run out there, by myself a lot, but I see a few hikers now and then. But most of them are always afraid to get lost, and I'm thinking, how do you get lost? I mean, but I guess they do. So that would be a good way to, that Moody Loop has an orange signage on the tree trunks.
Yes. Yes.
And then they have a huge map, at the trailheads.
Yeah.
And maybe somewhere along the way you can ask them too, because it is easy to get off the main trail, because a lot of these people are forming their own trails. So I feel very comfortable out there. I'm okay with being out there. I like being out there. I like feeling the feet on Mother Nature out there. I like being alone. I don't like to have people around me. So I'm good with that. But if you present this to the biker people again, these are our concerns as well. Well, it is for me. So thank you for your presentation.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you for your comments. And we have every intention of making the mountain bike community do some of the work too. So we'll have a chance to educate them then. So yes. And Commissioner Hosky, you typed something earlier. Yeah. And I'm not totally sure that that's true, that e-bikes can erode trails quicker than mountain bikes. Because I did do some research on that too. And then you also asked we'll do more research on that for sure. And the e-bikes are only going to be in the plan, are only allowed on current foots trails and on Forest Service roads. So that'll be tricky for sure. But and then you had another question, what is considered commuter routes? Will e-bikes be allowed in all trails or just the mountain biking area? So so just on the official foots trails, which are the trails that are there now, the Observatory Mesa Trail and the Tunnel Springs Trail, and the Mars Hill Trail. So those are the foots trails that they're allowed on now. Yeah, they won't be allowed basically on the single track trails that are being adopted or that we're making. The e-bikes won't be allowed on those. And Commissioner Zavala.
I think Diana did a great job sharing her concerns about the trails. I was really just piggybacking off of her as a fellow runner. I've actually been spending a lot of time on the Observatory Mesa trails, and it's great to know you guys are going to be dialing in what trails are meant to be ran on and what trails are just from when people were working on them, because you can just get lost so fast out there, and there's really only like a 5-mile loop and some other loop that'll take you around. And I totally thought I was making that up because I just started running on them in the last 4 months. So I think that's going to be great for our community and just really promote safety. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And Commissioner Lance.
Yeah, I just wanted to just add, like, when it comes time for like a sign concept to come about, maybe if we could get like a PDF or a file that can be shared with us to where we can make add something to the concept to share, with you guys. I don't know if that's possible.
Of the signs, sure.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll be
it could
working on that
easier
myself. So
at some point for us to be able to collaborate amongst the commissioners, to be able to add something. That's kind of like what I was thinking about for the last one. But a lot of these issues or concepts that are brought to the commission, we can, especially a sign. I just know somebody who can help put a concept together, just to share with you guys.
Yep. Thank you.
Here for us to work with.
Commissioner Hosky had another comment. I worry about hiking with e-bikes because they can zoom up hills past you. I absolutely agree. So.
All right. Is there anybody else from the commission that has any comments?
And the public?
Yes, and the public. Maybe this would be the time for our guests from the public to comment.
Hello. I'm so sorry. The questions I had were not pertaining to the agenda. Am I still allowed to ask questions, or maybe is there another time I could speak to someone on the commission? Perhaps. I don't mean to intrude upon your time at all. I know there's an allotted amount that y'all are given, so.
Yeah, we got about another 9 minutes. So, there is at the end of this, after we're done letting Sylvia go, we got like just a few minutes at the very end that, we could hear from you, I'm sure.
Co-chair, this is Rose.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me. So if Ms. Gator, if your questions do not pertain to anything on the agenda, we did have that public participation period at the beginning. That's the only time that you can probably give some sort of information for the commission. During the announcements that's coming up, you can probably make just a general statement but not ask the questions, because that would pertain to having a discussion. So that's the only recommendation I could make.
So you're saying after Sylvia's done, after we let her go, basically that item number 7, the informational items, is that what you're saying, Rose?
Yes, because
Okay.
there you can do some informational items, and if that can be just made a general statement versus providing the questions, that would be more helpful to the commission. Thank you.
Okay. Well, if there's nobody else in the commission that has any more comments, I appreciate you coming out and sharing this information with us, Sylvia.
Thank you. Appreciate your time and your comments. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to item number 7 here, the informational items from commission members, staff, and future agenda item requests. So, Ms. Grater, what did you want to share?
Yes, apologies. I've never been to a city council meeting, so I wasn't sure if I was allowed to ask questions then or towards the end. I'm so sorry about that. I was just I'm a NAU journalism student at NAU. And I just wanted to ask some questions pertaining to recent ICE concerns. But maybe I obviously missed my opportunity, a window to ask some questions. If maybe there's someone on the commission I could possibly talk to in regards to some questions I had. Please let me know. If not, that's totally fine. I'm so sorry for intruding if I have.
Yeah, I'm not sure any of us have any information on anything like that. Rose Tohi, who heads the commission, generally would probably speak on that.
Mhm.
I don't know of anything that I would be able to add to
Thank-
that.
Thank you, Co-Chair. And Ms. Grader, I think go ahead and I'm the staff liaison for the commission. And so you are, if you want to, I'll put my email in the chat and then we can discuss what kind of maybe what direction you might want to go after we talk. Would that be helpful?
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
All right.
And this is Sylvia. I just actually read an excellent article in the Navajo Times on that topic too. So I definitely refer you to that.
Great, definitely some valid concerns for sure. Just wanted to add in this item number 7 real quick. Appreciate Commissioner Francis for giving us information on the last meeting about the new casino that's going to be happening out there at the Horseman Lodge. When she had announced that, I just happened to be out there that day and showed up out there. That was pretty interesting. All the information that was shared and the casino that's going to be happening out at the old Horseman's Lodge across from Silver Saddle. Yeah, so appreciate you, Commissioner Francis, for sharing that information. And for
Yes.
seeing you out there.
It was interesting, and I think I was supposed to do some sort of a little report to one of the council members, but I don't see her. I don't think she was able to attend. It was interesting. I'm gonna be nice. And if anybody has any questions about it, you can always contact me and Darren, because we witnessed something that was very wow. That was all I can say. There was something I wanted to share about the ICE thing, and that I saw Rose. I'm not sure if you're still connected with folks at the Navajo Nation Human Rights Commission, but I think next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're doing like a Know Your Rights symposiums. And I thought that was something that at some point, is that something we would talk about in this commission, or is that something that we can also bring awareness to here? Nothing that I know of has happened in Flagstaff, but with everything happening and events in Phoenix or wherever else, it would be wise to have the right information from the right people here, at least in this town, is something that I'd like to emphasize. And then lastly, if we have just a few more minutes, I got a letter. I got a link to the director of the National Congress of American Indians wrote a letter to the current administration regarding DEI, and I don't know if anybody read it. It was on February 2nd, so I'm just going to stick it in the chat for your information. But it talked about how this issue of taking funding away, tribal people, with the relationship with the federal government, we are seen as not a race. We are a political entity, and we're a very unique set of peoples like this in the world. Our government to government relationship with our treaties in place and with the United States. So it's very informative, something I think everybody should be aware of. Place it in the chat for your information and just for more awareness. So that's my input. Thank you. And great meeting, everyone.
Thank you. Does any other of the commissioners have anything to add or comment on?
The only thing I wanted to say was, yes, I did receive the information from Navajo Nation Human Rights Commission, and they were trying to work with FUSD, but I'm not really sure what happened. But as far as I know, they weren't able to secure a place here in Flagstaff. So we'll see what happens in the future as to maybe they'll do other public info sessions. So, and if they do, I'll let you all know.
You mentioned them not being able to secure a place for us. If there's concern of cost, we were just working with Murdoch Center, where they're offering their space for free to nonprofit organizations, local partners, because they have a grant. I think it may be their Resilience Hub grant that they get from the city, or it's one of the grants that they have to host a program at least once a week, every week of the month. So it is a benefit for them to be able to partner with folks who will come and donate their time and host a workshop or a public info session or anything like that. And also just to the whole group, if you guys are looking to promote a nonprofit or you want to host a workshop, Darren, maybe it's about being an electrician or a business owner or what the commission does, anything like that. They're a great resource, and their space can hold up to 89 people, I think.
That's amazing. Thank you for that information, Commissioner Zavala. All right, I think if there's no more additional comments, we can officially adjourn the meeting. It is 12:30 p.m., February 6, 2025. Adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, everybody. Great